Respected guest, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Chakradeo, the Principal, Dr. Dipali Kotwal, all the dignitaries and my dear colleagues. Welcome to the first ever discussion on the new Education Policy 2020 that the college is organizing. Before we begin with, let us seek the blessings from Rashtrasant Tukroji Maharaj by playing the University Geet. Hello all. Today we have foregathered for an academic and literary venture concerning all of us, the teachers, who are in a continuous process of learning and yearning of knowledge. The steady and ongoing process of learning, unlearning and relearning has become an essential mantra of being associated with the education system. We as the stakeholders hold a significant role to contribute towards the welfare and well-being of society. We are embedded deep with the concerns of society and environment that keeps us grounded. Similarly, the new education policy that replaced the National Policy of Education, that is NPE, enforced since 1986, is based on the foundational pillars of access, equity, quality, affordability, and accountability. With a vision that is, I quote, India-centric education system that contributes directly to transforming our nation sustainably into an equitable and vibrant knowledge society by providing high quality education to all, unquote. As we postulate the NEP's vision, at this juncture, I, Nidhi Meshram, would like to introduce our guest speaker. Though Chakradeo Madam needs no introduction, nevertheless, we seek this opportunity to talk about her association with the L.A.D fraternity. Ma'am began her career immediately after her BArch in 1985 as a lecturer and became the head of the Department of House and Interior Design from 1986 to 1996. Thereafter, Ma'am headed the Department of Architecture from 1997 to 2008 and was designated as the principal of Srimati Manorama Bai Mundle College of Architecture from 2008 to 2021. Known for her academic fervor, Ma'am has acquired copyrights for 3 of her work on intellectual property rights that endorses her academic forte. Ma'am is a recognized PhD supervisor not only in Maharashtra but as well in Ahmedabad and has been actively instrumental for her contribution in the field of heritage conservation. The achievements of Professor Chakradeo are endless. Ma'am, it gives us pleasure to celebrate the essence of being a woman. Thank you, ma'am, for accepting our invite and welcome back. Moving further, I request Dr. Kotwal for the principal's address along with a brief regarding National Education Policy 2020 and welcome formally our Honorable Resource Person. Ma'am, please.
Good morning. We have with us Dr. Ujwala Chakradeo, Honorable Vice Chancellor of the SNDT University, Mumbai, who shall deliver her expertise on reforming higher education, the new education policy. I am extremely happy that such an eminent personality is here with us today to clear our doubts and to discuss on the policy change in the education domain. Madam, let us first give you an idea about how much we are aware, and I request you to guide us further on the steps that all the stakeholders need to follow. I would like to present about the NEP 2020 in brief. India is undergoing rapid changes in the knowledge landscape. The Cabinet on July 29 gave its nod to the national education policy that will bring far-reaching changes in the school education and higher education systems. The education policy has been changed after 34 years, and this is a historic moment and a beginning of a much-needed transformation. Education must build character, enable learners to be ethical, rational, compassionate and caring, while at the same time prepare them for gainful, fulfilling employment. Previously, it was known as National Policy on Education NPE 1986. It got further modified in 1992. The main focus of the 1986 policy was regarding access and equity of education. Access means the availability of education and equity means fairness. Because there are people who are more disadvantaged than others when it comes to having access to education. We have indeed come a long way since 1986. However, today it is about access to quality education. Previously, as I said, it was just about having access to education. But today, it is about quality education. The only major improvement since the last policy of 1986 has been the Right of Children for Free and Compulsory Education Act 2009. The main purpose of the NEP is to design a vision and framework of both the school education and higher education in India. Early childhood education and care and its need is well documented in the NEP 2020. The existing 10 plus 2 system of school curricula is to be replaced by a 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 curricula structure corresponding to ages 3 to 8, 8 to 11, 11 to 14, and 14 to 18 years respectively. The new system will have 12 years of schooling with 3 years of preschooling. Here, the first 5 years will be focused on getting the strong foundational basics. The year 2030 is set as a deadline to ensure that all students entering first grade are school ready. The policy promotes multilingualism and has emphasized mother tongue, local or regional language as the medium of instructions. At least till grade 5, but preferably up to grade 8 and beyond. A new National Assessment Center, PARAK, that is Performance Assessment, Review and Analysis of Knowledge for Holistic Development, will be set up as a standard setting body. It can give 360-degree holistic progress card, tracking student progress for achieving learning outcomes. There will be no rigid separations between arts and science, between curricular and extracurricular activities, between vocational and academic streams. Vocational education will start in school from 6th grade and will include internship. Higher education too will have flexible curricula, creative combination of subjects, integration of vocational education and multiple entry and exit points with appropriate certifications. For example, certificate after 1 year, advanced diploma after 2 years, bachelor's degree with 4 or 3 years, and then a master's respectively of 1 or 2 years. Further, students can directly go to the doctoral program after 5 years of graduation. That is, either completing 3 years UG and 2 years PG or 4 years UG with a year's post-graduation. MPhil program will be discontinued. Multidisciplinary Education and Research Universities, MERU, would be set up as models of best multidisciplinary education of global standards in the country. The National Research Foundation shall be formed to foster a strong research culture and to build research capacity across higher education. Flexible multidisciplinary permutations and combinations to choose subjects as per their interest, choices and career aspirations that began in secondary school stage shall continue even in higher education. This means that the entire academic curriculum will be renovated and academic bank of credits shall be established to facilitate transfer of credits between subjects and disciplines, and then the final degree can be earned eventually. Effective reorganization of classes into the new key stages is not possible without capacity building of teachers. Teachers shall have to go through a process of unlearning the traditional pedagogy to relearn how to teach through the recommended experiential learning approaches that encourage observation, experimentation, and critical thinking by learners, and also draw upon their prior knowledge to make connections and learn. National Professional Standards for Teachers, NPST, will monitor the design of pre-service teacher education program. Indeed, an investment in teachers is an investment in students. A new and comprehensive national curriculum framework for teacher education 2021 will be formulated by the National Council for Teacher Education in consultation with NCERT, that is National Council of Educational Research and Training. Higher Education Commission of India, HECI, will be set up as a single umbrella body for the entire higher education, excluding medical and legal education. HECI will be having 4 independent verticals, namely National Higher Education Regulatory Council NHERC for regulation, General Education Council GEC for standard setting, Higher Education Grants Council HEGC for funding, and National Accreditation Council NAC for accreditation. NEP is a progressive shift towards a more scientific approach and aims to facilitate an inclusive, participatory, and holistic approach to education. If implemented in its true vision, the new structure can bring India at par with the leading countries of the world. There is much more than this. I have just presented a brief introduction to begin with. Looking forward to the interactions with our students and staff, and then awaiting eagerly to hear from our invited expert, Dr. Chakradeo. Over to Nidhi. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kotwal, for the principal's address and presentation. Now, in the third segment of the meet, we converge towards our prominent stakeholders, our students. The young minds are constantly buzzing about with new ideas and innovative thinking and are also scrutinizing instantly. The organizing team made a survey to manifest students' opinions regarding the new education policy 2020. As the review of students' comprehension regarding the NEP document was done, the team was astonished to learn that our students indeed had some knowledge about NEP. The varied sources influential for the information was predominantly on the questions they had in their minds. Likewise, after each student had a question, it had to be replied. So, the teachers examined these queries and with reference to the new Education Policy 2020 guidelines. Since our college is linked with the junior college, the students were consulted, and the outcome of the interaction was that a small group of enthusiastic girls were seen discussing the parameters in the form of seeking answers from their vice principal. Presenting before you, Sania, Radha, and Vidhi engrossed in a conversation.
Hi ladies, how are you after the year of college? Good. Actually, very excited now that we will be able to continue our college and 12 as offline, especially since we've heard that our exams will be offline as well. By the way, did you learn about the new education policy that was held on 29 July 2020 and many seminars were held?
New education policy? Has it got to do with the current education system?
Yes, actually I just learned from one of the teachers that the new system will be 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4.
So what is the opinion of the students about the change? Is it a positive change or a negative change?
I think it's a good change, but I don't think it will be implemented when we are in 12. Radha, I just remember someone saying that it emphasizes on learning mother tongue and regional languages.
Yes, it is said that the mother tongue or regional language is to be the medium of instruction till class 5. Later, it was clarified that this decision is up to the states and institutions. It seems interesting. Let's ask Holava madam. Yes, let's go.
More than keen to respond to the two queries put forth by the young girls of class 11, Mrs. Sulabha Golavar, Vice Principal Junior College, spoke that
न्यू नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी 2020 स्टूडेंट्स ने कहा है कि ये पॉजिटिव है या नेगेटिव है, तो ये तो वेरी मच पॉजिटिव ही है, क्योंकि नई शिक्षा प्रणाली जो है ये स्टूडेंट को जो है वो जो ड्रॉप आउट होते हैं या फेल होते हैं तो उनकी संख्या में ये कमी लाएगा। और दूसरा जो है कि ये जो भी लेवल अचीव करेगा या जितनी भी शिक्षा लेगा उस हिसाब से उसको सर्टिफिकेट है, डिप्लोमा है या डिग्री है, ये सब उसको उस हिसाब से उसकी लेवल या उसकी शिक्षा के हिसाब से उसको प्रदान किया जाएगा। दूसरा है मुख्य भाषाएं इन्होंने बोली है कि ये 3 रहेगी, तो तो ये 3 में से एक रीजनल लैंग्वेज तो रहने ही वाली है, जैसे हम महाराष्ट्र में हैं तो मराठी रहेगी, लेकिन जो मेन है इंग्लिश, तो ये इंग्लिश कंपलसरी है और इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज की वजह से इसको ग्लोबली एक्नॉलेजमेंट मिलेगी, रिकॉग्नाइज किया जाएगा और स्टूडेंट जो है हमारे उनमें एक कॉन्फिडेंस आएगा, उनकी जो कॉम्पिटिटिव लेवल है वो भी बढ़ेगी और ये पॉलिसी की वजह से मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि स्टूडेंट्स जो है उनको क्वालिटी एजुकेशन मिलेगा.
Thank you, Gulavar ma'am, for responding to the questions propounded by the teenagers. Education and academics are closely knit with co-curricular and extracurricular activities. Right from the beginning, emphasis is given to the co-curricular and extracurricular pursuits in our college. Our students are rigorously involved in such ventures and are conscious about its role in nation building. The college staff members, inclusive of both the teaching and non-teaching fraternity, motivate and help the students. We have Ankita, a NCC cadet, keen and eager to know if the new Education Policy 2020 has brought about changes in academics with reference to NCC. Also ardent to serve the nation, Ankita asks,
एनसीसी छात्र होने के नाते मेरा यह प्रश्न है कि एनसीसी को न्यू एजुकेशन पॉलिसी में अनिवार्य सब्जेक्ट किया गया है? इफ अनिवार्य सब्जेक्ट किया गया है तो इसका सिलेबस फ्रेम हुआ है?
Captain Anuradha Nathine extends her response with,
Captain Anuradha Nathile, Associate NCC Officer, 3 महाराष्ट्र गर्ल्स बटालियन युनिट आहे आमचं आणि एनसीसी घेणं हे कंपल्सरी व्हायला पाहिजे. सिलेबस आणि आलेलं आहे, त्याच्यामध्ये पर्सनॅलिटी डेव्हलप होतो, टायमिंगचं एक नॉलेज येतो आणि डेअरिंग बाज पण होतो कॅडेट, आणि कुठे राहण्याची पण कॅम्प वगैरे असतो 10 दिवसाचा, त्याच्यामध्ये पण एक डेअरिंग येतं आणि त्यांच्यामध्ये आता आर्म्ड फोर्सेसमध्ये पण लेडीज जाते आहे, त्याच्यामुळे त्यांना स्कोप आहे. ज्यांना जे बेसिक मिलिटरीचं जे नॉलेज मिळतं, मॅप रीडिंग आहे, वेपन ट्रेनिंग आहे, आपलं फील्ड सिग्नल आहे, हेल्थ अँड हायजीन आहे, हे सब्जेक्ट त्यांना बेसिक लेवलला सगळे शिकायला मिळतं. त्यामुळे एनसीसी सिलेबस तसा आलेला आहे, पण त्याचा अप्रुव्हल अजून आपल्याला मिळायचं आहे. अप्रुव्हल अजून सुरू व्हायचं आहे. म्हणजे
Captain Nathine, your answer is precise and has given a clear picture of the current position of NCC and its future for the cadets. Thank you, ma'am, for your reply. As we ascend to the higher level of education, we move on to the undergraduate level where Alafia has a relevant point to ask, and this is what she wants to know.
My questions regarding open distance learning, and we are graduate soon and would start a job, and in that job I would require promotion, and for that I will require higher certifications. So will the new education policy be able to help me out? Will there be any provisions for me, and will the certificate be nationwide recognized, or will it be only state-wise as it was before?
Dr. Charuta Gajbie, Head Department of Hotel Management and Catering Technology, is here to respond to the query.
Firstly, the question is, very relevant. As you all know that at the initial stages, there were some queries that were coming up regarding the distance education program. In fact, it was said that it will not be considered, etc., etc. But the fact is that the new education policy is taking into consideration these courses. Your first question is, because you've said the first part is enhancement. Yes, enhancement is possible. See, now in your case, because you are already a graduate, you've done it to a normal schooling. So when it comes to enhancement, it will definitely help you, because it says that it is not only going to be a state level verification or anything, it is going to be verification through like platforms like Swayam, Diksha, and continuing with the same thing, whether it is going to give you a national recognition or it is going to be state-wise. Let me correct you on this. Firstly, IGNOU was the body who was assigned to give, train the people to open up the open distance education programs. But now you will be having courses on the MOOC platform, which will be recognized not only by state, national, they will come to the level of globalization.
Thank you, Dr. Charuta Gajbie. And the answer indeed seems to be informative and limpid. Hope Alifia's doubt is solved. Thank you. Besides developing one's own personality, NSS proactively dedicates and directs students towards value education. The National Service Scheme of the college has continuously brought accolades with their sincere efforts and endurance. Motivated by the programs inclusive in these NSS activities, our NSS volunteers, Kirti and Mansha, want to continue with the social work and express that
from organizing literacy campaigns to environmental conversations and for performing blood donation camps,
we lend our soul and heart for every such cause. Our spirit is unbreakable and unbeatable. We are NSS volunteers with the motto, not me, but you. Our first question regarding NEP is, NSS is not compulsory under present Education Act, but will it be compulsory under NEP?
and we are thinking that NSS will be under extracurricular activity, or will it be a decision making, or we have to compulsorily act in, or it's a your choice, your decision to be a part of NSS or not.
Mrs. Maya Meshram, coordinator of the NSS Unit 1, has opined intensely by stating that
राष्ट्रीय सेवा योजना, युवा कार्यक्रम और खेल मंत्रालय भारत सरकार का सक्रिय उपक्रम स्नातक स्तर पर युवाओं को समाज से और देश से जोड़ने हेतु और राष्ट्र प्रेम जागरूक करने हेतु ये कार्यक्रम चलता आ रहा है। उपक्रम बहुत अच्छा है, बच्चे जुड़ रहे हैं, लेकिन मेरी राय ऐसी है कि सिर्फ और सिर्फ स्नातक स्तर पर बच्चे कार्यक्रम में उलझे रहते हैं। फर्स्ट ईयर में आते आते वो जुड़ते जरूर है, लेकिन फाइनल तक पहुंचते पहुंचते वो जुड़ाव कहीं कम हो जाता है। शिक्षा नीति में इसको अलग से उतना ही महत्व दिया गया है। मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि नई शिक्षा नीति के अनुसार इसे 10वीं से यानी पाठशाला से शुरू किया जाए तो बच्चे अपने समाज के प्रति अपने कर्तव्य को अधिक समझ सकेंगे और स्नातक आते आते यह जुड़ाव उनका अधिक अच्छा होगा। और हम जो सोच रहे हैं कि गांव से भारत का विकास, राष्ट्र का विकास, तो ये हमारा जो राष्ट्र के प्रति कर्तव्य है वो अधिक अच्छे से सफल हो सकेगा।
Meshram ma'am, your suggestions and thoughtful sensitization of the youth has definitely marked a conscious concern in today's hectic life. Thank you, ma'am. Turning to the postgraduate level, a challenging and critical transition to their next stage in professional life, students are always concerned regarding their contribution towards the society, their future obviously, and their role in future. We have Sai to know whether
since I'm a PG student and I'm in the transition mode from education to professional life, I have query about new education policy that was introduced in July. So my query is that does it give the ease and flexibility for commerce or art background students to go in the tech stream just like other students, because now startups and companies require us to be tech friendly? And is there any advantage for the students that will recognize their online distance learning degrees as well as their regular college degrees, because we need to upskill according to the pandemic?
Dr. Alka Dhonge, Vice Principal, will be responding to Sai's question.
The answer to your question, Sai, is that in NEP, institutions are going to be restructured into multidisciplinary universities and HEI clusters, which will enable an individual student to study one or more specialized areas of interest at a deep level and also develop capabilities across a range of disciplines including sciences, social sciences, arts, commerce, as well as professional, technical and vocational subjects. Imaginative and flexible curricular structures will enable creative combinations of disciplines for study and would offer multiple entry and exit points and thus removing rigid boundaries. Flexibility in curriculum and novel and engaging course options will be on offer to students in addition to the rigorous specialization in subject or subjects. They have also introduced CBCS, that is choice-based credit system, for installing innovation and flexibility. The student and length of degree program shall be adjustable. Undergraduate program 3 or 4 years with multiple exit options, certificate course 1 year, diploma after 2 years, bachelor's after 3 years.
Dr. Alka Dhonge's response was comprehensive and provides a sense of satisfaction that the choice-based subjects can help students study and explore new avenues. Thank you, ma'am. As we all know that sports and games enhance social relationships. Our sports enthusiasts, Vedashi and Shivali, have multiple queries regarding sports, career and future. Let us listen to them attentively.
We are the students of the sports department, but we play different sports.
We have few questions about the national education policy.
For UG courses, will sports be an extracurricular activity or will it be a part of the curriculum?
Will NEP make sports compulsory subject?
And will NEP provide any special scholarships for a sports person? And if yes, then will it also provide any special funding or special scholarship if a sports person wants to enroll in a specific sports academy?
Will NEP provide any infrastructure or equipment towards the college who don't have any for the sports player?
And lastly, one more question, that how will NEP promote sports along with education?
Dr. Durgesh Nandini Titarmare, Head, Department of Sports and Physical Education, who had represented university in sports as a student herself, is eagerly waiting to respond by saying that
नॅशनल एज्युकेशन पॉलिसीमध्ये मुलींनी बरेच प्रश्न विचारले. त्यात एक हा पण प्रश्न होता की फिजिकल एज्युकेशन हा सब्जेक्ट कंपल्सरी राहील का. त्यावर म्हणजे काही विद्यापीठांनी तो कंपल्सरी सब्जेक्ट केलेला आहे. तसेच तो ऑप्शनल पण राहू शकतो आणि कंपल्सरी पण राहू शकतो. हे आता त्याचा म्हणजे प्रत्येक विद्यापीठात त्याचा अभ्यास सुरू आहे आणि तो सुरू करण्याचा प्रयत्न सुरू आहे. तसेच मुलींना आणि मुलांना पुढे येण्यासाठी म्हणजे त्यांना नोकरीत आरक्षण देण्यात येईल का, तर पहिलेपासून 5% त्यांच्यासाठी आरक्षण ठेवलेलं आहे. तर ते नॅशनल एज्युकेशन पॉलिसीमध्ये कंटिन्यू आहे.
Titarmare ma'am, your observations regarding the changes happening in the field of sports and the overall Indian mindset has certainly assured a prosperous and healthy sports career for the athletes. Thank you, ma'am. As we all know that the new education policy was an outcome of a rigorous consultation process in formulating its draft, the Indian Space Research Organization, that is ISRO's former chief Krishnaswamy Kasturi Rangan, submitted the document in 2019 on behalf of his panel to the government. We delve into the arena of research that is so strongly associated with L.A.D towards the end of the third segment, where we have a young research scholar, Mohini, who aptly puts forth her practical oriented inquiry.
Hi all, my name is Mohini Piyush Brahmane. I am a research scholar and a teacher as well. Well, in the circles of scholars today, there is a lot of buzz regarding new national education policy. My query is both from the point of view of teacher as well as a research scholar. According to the NEP, there is a provision of a teaching assistantship to the research scholar during their doctoral training period. My query is, will this assistantship be given to the already registered students only or to the newly registrations? And will it be paid or unpaid? Thank you.
The importance of funding is certainly indicator of a better outcome and to benefit the society at large. We have Dr. Nanda Rathi, an experienced research supervisor who would extend her exposition to the most pivotal issue related to higher education.
Mohini, you have asked a very relevant and a pertinent query. The National Education Policy 2020 has focused a lot on teacher education. As per the NEP 2020, all fresh PhD entrants will be required to take credit-based courses either in teaching or in education during their doctoral period. Apart from this, NEP 2020 has also focused that there will be a minimum number of hours of teaching experience which the doctoral candidate have to gather through teaching assistantship and other means. Right, so with respect to the teacher assistantship, the NEP will be guiding and reorienting all the universities. Presently, the NEP is in a nascent stage and it is going to develop its program or rather implement its program in a phase-wise manner, in a step-wise manner. So the universities will be given the call as to how they are going to go ahead with this particular thing. Apart from this, the NEP has come up with the establishment of National Research Foundation. The main objective of this National Research Foundation would be to give funds to the coming up research projects. Apart from giving the funds, the relevant research will also be linked with governmental agencies as well as with industry and private philanthropic organizations.
Thank you, ma'am, to have put in a matter-of-fact elucidation. Thank you once again, Rathi ma'am. Well, after this short briefing regarding our students and teachers, we request Professor Chakradeo to support, elucidate and reiterate the points put forth by our college teachers through the lecture cum orientation on reforming higher education, the new education policy.
Namaskar. It's such a pleasure to be with you all after such a long time. It's homecoming. And coming home at any point of time is always wonderful. I've been away, but technology is there to be connected. So I'm always connected with home. And technology makes it possible for us to do so. I'm thankful to Dr. Deepa that she has invited me to be with you and be in L.A.D, though virtually, doesn't matter much. And I'm also thankful and excited about the fact that such a wonderful way she has adopted for making our students and faculty members learn and know about national education policy. Everybody has worked on it, read it, and beautiful feedbacks have been given about it. A kind of curiosity amongst everyone is always there, trying to know what's there in national education policy. And document also has come out so well. It's just a 66 pages Word document which talks about the holistic learning. Every line thus becomes very important in the entire document. From childhood learning to the post-graduation, research and everything. Adult learning, continuation of education and also professional education. Role of a teacher, the way students should learn. I don't know what am I going to talk about within this given time frame, but it's good to be talking about national education policy. The more you read, more different angles come out of it. It was definitely, as you all know, declared and approved in July 2020. To be precise, 29th of July. And many times I say it's this date will be remembered in the history as a date of history. People will talk about this policy because it has a potential of changing the entire future education on the society also. Because education is a very, very sharp tool to bring about the change in the society. This sharp tool has now been refined, made technically appropriate. It has been chiseled out and now kept in front of us. We want the society to change in an appropriate direction, and that direction has been envisaged by the learners, visionaries who have drafted this policy. This policy also gives the opportunity for us to understand what is what can I as an individual do in my own field. Immediately when this policy was approved, there were lots of discussions and debates also. Then there was a circular from the government side saying that we all can start implementing it at our own level, and we can do it without even investing much money into it. I've been always fascinated by the fact that we are in an institution. L.A.D is such an institution where multidisciplinary things are so easily possible. In Shankar Nagar, we have got so many departments: the music, the physical education, arts, commerce, science, economics, and also I don't know what not. I may not be able to count also. Similarly, in Shankar Nagar, there are so many innovative subjects which are there. I tried to do this kind of an exercise for the architecture college of ours, and we did it last year. In that, we tried to understand the entire subject of architecture holistically. Now when we talk about holistic understanding of an architecture subject, we try to understand in a built environment. The role of an architect is just a very small role. There are so many people involved in the entire built environment. There are masons, there are governees, and then there are carpenters, and so on and so forth. All those things we do not know in our education. We have never tried to learn, but offering certificate courses for all of them in the first year would bring in the plethora of variety of subjects which are required within the built environment itself. But why should we be restricting ourselves only to those? I can ask my students to go to hotel management and learn about table laying, manners, systems, sciences, serving, and many things from there. Something from the interior design department also, something from electronics, something from cosmetic technology, something from home science, food and nutrition, and many things. And the student who will be learning architecture now will have a possibility of becoming or pursuing something which she had not done or she was not able to do earlier. I know one of the queries. Same thing probably can be done with the Shankar Nagar campus of ours. But why are we restricting ourselves within the campus? The subjects which we internally want to have with each other probably can be taken up online, and students don't have to move outside and move around. That has been so well explained in our by our earlier questions and answer sessions. Online technology and online possibilities have changed the entire world of education, and this possibility can be utilized very appropriately in national education policy by combining it with the multidisciplinary thing, for which we will definitely require credits, and about these credits I will try to talk slightly later. But prior to that, I would like to talk about the languages and the importance of the different languages, which has been emphasized in the national education policy. Flexibility, use of language, being grounded to the context, to the society. These are all very important things which the national education policy talks about. If we want to understand and incorporate those very simple things, we need to take up with us. And these simple things start with the including so many elective subjects with credits, and telling our students, bring these credits from such and such department, from within the L.A.D's purview or from outside also, from outside India also. Only thing that starts is we need to identify as facilitators the institutions where we can have a tie-up with. How are we going to tie up with those things, and for which the teachers will have to do some kind of an extra work, and the institutions will have to have the MOUs with them. Now, when we talk about different languages which the possibility is giving, language is not just a language. It comes with a complete backup of a culture with it. And when that culture comes up with it, then the understanding a subject becomes so different. Particularly where we are not talking too technical things, where we are talking about people, where we are talking about plants, where we are talking about local climate. All these things become where the language becomes very important. Opening up of the language also is now in the higher education, has opened up the possibility for the rural students from the rural areas who have not been educated into the English medium. Now they'll be able to learn in their own language the highly technical subjects. Now the terminologies and the terms which are technical terms and the availability of the textbooks in the regional languages is not there, but National Research Foundation, which has been formed, will do it, and there'll be people who will help it. Karnataka has already done it, and Karnataka is now following the many courses, engineering courses in regional languages. Again, coming back to architecture, what I feel is had we been able to pursue the regional, that is Marathi language, architecture in Marathi, it would give a wonderful possibility of understanding so many parts of our structure in the way the locals perceive it. Just to give you an example, we call the Angan as a courtyard in English. But when we say Angan, it has different connotations, and when we say courtyard, it has got dimensions to it. So understanding the structure and a part with dimensions and analytical viewpoint is one aspect, and understanding it with heart is something more different. So national education policy actually gives us the possibility of understanding a particular subject with heart in it. So emotional component of education, which was lost long ago from our entire education, has been unraveled, unrevealed by this national education policy. I wanted to actually say cover and uncover. When we say I have covered my syllabus, it's actually the job of a teacher is to uncover the syllabus. So uncovering the syllabus and uncovering and revealing the inner self to outside through education is what we are talking about in education, in national education policy. Because the definition of education as given by Vivekananda is also that there is always a perfection inside us. Education has to just bring that perfection out bit by bit with small components at every level. So many committees, so many possibilities of implementing this national education policy are now being set up, are now working on it. People are working on it. And there are so many draft documents which you will find on the net with respect to this. One is that of the draft National Higher Education Qualification Framework, NHEQF, which talks about the levels of learning, in which the levels which are given here are the levels from 1 to 10, and level 1 to 4 are related to the school education, and from 5 to 10 are for the higher education. The draft also talks about the POs, program outcomes, and the course outcomes, and also talks about the attributes of the learner which are required at every level. How to define those is to be understood by each one of us. Once that attributes are understood by us, then probably we will be able to assign the level at which the student would be taking up the next level, and possibility of making a holistic understanding at that particular level for each one of them. Then they talk about credits also. Credit ABC, that is the academic bank of credits, is something which is very important with respect to making it a multidisciplinary. Now, since most of our courses in Shankarnagar campus or otherwise also in L.A.D are related to that of are affiliated to Nagpur University, RTM Nagpur University. So some decisions of the university will be binding on us till we are affiliated to the university. The policy also talks about being de-affiliated. Soon we need to take the autonomy, because the policy itself talks about how do we make ourselves autonomous. So there will be institutions which will be helping us. We are always scared of being autonomous, thinking that grants are associated with it. Grants will still be associated with it. But it will be a prestige also that will be associated, and grants will be given to those who are becoming autonomous also. So making a cluster of those autonomous things and sharing of the resources will also be one of the components of this entire thing. Being autonomous, making a cluster, sharing of resources, and then trying to be learning together and helping someone who is not been able to come to the level of the autonomy. If within 15 years or 20 years, whatever the time frame has been given in the entire document of national education policy, which will change, I'm sure, with the coming times, but if some institution is not able to take up the required level, will it die? Probably not. We are there together, so we will hold hands and bring everybody up to the level. I always, when I think about national education policy, I always feel it's the possibility given to all of us to learn with joy, enjoy learning. So this enjoyment of learning which will come with this national education policy, that is something which is very, very important, not only for the students but also for the teachers who will be involved in learning, because teachers will have to now learn to teach also, and students will also do the same thing, because matter of learning will never be discussed, should never be discussed now onwards in the classrooms when the contact hours are being given between the teacher and the students. Gone are those days when we were dictating the syllabus or content to the students in the classroom. The contact hours will have to be designed so appropriately that those moments are used by the teacher and the student with great moments of joy and learning. Learning always happens with a joyful mind, and facilitating that ambience, making use of a technology, making a collaborative learning, making questions available in that form, making meaningful discussions for learning. All these are the ways in which the learning will happen. The matter which has to be discussed will already be there in the with the students in the form of a soft copy or in the net. So they will click the button, read the matter, and then they will have doubts and come back and have a session with the teachers talking about what do we do about these things and the possibilities which have never been there earlier. Now also the availability of the open educational resources, it's a Pandora box, and everything is there in the open educational resources. Once we have to understand how to explore that resource and make it available to students, and which is the most relevant resource and which is not so relevant resource will have to be informed by the teacher and made available to the students prior to the contact hours, so and so forth. There are so many things which I am excited about and would like to discuss and talk to you. However, I stop here. Thank you all again for inviting me to be with you, and I am available for your question answer sessions. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your illuminating talk cum orientation on reforming higher education, the new education policy. Ma'am, we look forward to your such academic endeavors in future as well. Thank you so much, ma'am, once again. Now, at the end of the meet, I request Dr. Sumita Sapre to propose vote of thanks. Ma'am, please.
Good evening, everyone. On behalf of Lady Amritbai Daga College for Women, I thank Dr. Ujwala Chakradeo, Chief Guest of today's function, for highlights on the National Education Policy. We thank you, Madam, for guiding us and showing us the path to our future. We thank the Management Council for being the backbone of our institution and guiding us and supporting us for all such programs. This program has been conducted under the able guidance of Dr. Dipali Kotwal, Principal of our college. I sincerely extend my thanks to Madam. We are together today on this platform due to the technical support offered by Dr. Shrija Kurup. I appreciate your help, Dr. Shrija. Finally, I thank each one of you present here for taking out your valuable time and being here and making this program a grand success. Thanks one and all. I request you all to rise for the national anthem.